It's okay.
I'm so out of routine. I'm sorry.
It's
Get back.
okay.
I'll get back.
Hey, you're here. It's okay.
Yeah, I was just part of why I wasn't paying attention and I hit the wrong button was I was just really enjoying our intro music. And I know we're about to change it, and I'm excited about what we're changing it to.
We are.
But there's a little bit of, I don't know if it's nostalgia. I mean, we're on episode 160, right?
Yes.
So we have danced into that song at least 155 times. I'm going to discount a few shows for tech issues.
Fair.
But it's a comfort, I realized. When I hear that music, my body like gets excited, but it also relaxes because I know we're about to have a great conversation.
Yes.
And it brings me joy. I'm just noticing that as I think about it. What about you?
No, I was in the same place. I was like, yep, we're dancing. I just came off the trip. I was just with the ladies. We're back with the ladies. And that's what I was thinking about. Me and you dancing together and everything that's been going on and how the music makes me feel, which is the same.
Right.
Think about the show. I think about the conference. Yeah.
Right. All the things. Well, should we do our official check-in and then check in with each other again? All right, let's do it.
I'm Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur, Amazon bestseller selling publisher, author, and all-natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self-care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hi, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker that I can't say the word speaker. And Amazon bestselling author and publisher and a dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Yes. Together we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the founders of Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week to have intentional conversations about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness. And oftentimes we have guests, and sometimes it's just us. And we really are just here trying to figure it out. Like, how do we do this with joy and intention and acknowledging all right and sustainability and health and all the things, all the things. And our water.
And the water, right? And especially when we talk about wealth and wisdom finances, which is the title of today, what I've been thinking about recently is how health is wealth, right? So water is a big part of that. When I think about cash flow, making sure that the cash is flowing a certain way, making sure you have a little bit in the river, or maybe backing up and just noticing, how is it flowing? What do we need next, you know?
I love that. I was talking with a client today, and they were looking at a major life transition.
Okay.
And, you know, we start with, okay, what do you need?
Right.
That means you got to have a budget. That means you got to know your numbers. And, yeah, I can just say honestly, because of what I've been going through the last couple of months, I'm out of touch with mine right now. And so I think about June. This week will be my birthday. And I say that not to get happy birthdays, but they're delightful. But also because I tend to do a mid-year review. Because it's my birthday and because it's June, I like to check in, right?
Yes.
Which
when is it? Isn't it the 25th? Is it Tuesday?
No, 22nd. Saturday.
Oh,
Saturday. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. 2-2.
Okay, yes.
So yeah, I don't know. I have like in my body right now, it's summer, right? So to me, and I was the child of 2 public school teachers. So like we did summer because that's our whole system was built around summer.
Literally, yes.
And so I get to this time of the year and I don't want to do a lot. I really my body wants to slow, and I was raised in Texas, so it was also too darn hot to do a lot. So you did a lot early in the morning and then you rested and you know, there was a lot of room for reading and growing. So I'm balancing that with mid-year review, time to check in with finances, trying to see time to check in with subscriptions. What have I accidentally signed up for that's taken $1 to $5 out of my account?
Right.
So, so how are you, my friend? What have you been up to? How's your energy? What you doing?
Oh, I have been great. I told you I just went out of town to coach the divas. I went with Felicia Frayall, one of our Amazon best-selling authors. And shout
Right?
out to the divas at Kennesaw State and ASU. We had a great time. We had a
I
great
love
time.
that.
I went and shared
Remind
about
me, because my
yes,
brain's a little Swiss cheese. Was she volume one or volume two? She was
volume
volume
1.
one, right?
Mhm.
I thought Felicia
Albany
was,
State. Yes.
right?
Yes. And so we had the leaders of her organization. I was super excited to help the Kennesaw students. Really, I was with the presidents and the vice presidents, right? But when she told me that she had opened this chapter on Kennesaw's campus, something in my brain went, ooh, ooh. And so I was super excited to be there.
I'm so glad you got to do that. And
Yes.
they're so lucky to have you as a
Thank you so much.
mentor and as somebody who has been there, right? You were an RA on the
Yes.
Kennesaw campus. That's your
Mhm.
alum. Like, I love
Yes.
that you give back.
Mm.
And yay for repping Shayla Grow. I'm
Yes.
seeing that shirt.
Yes, you saw that? Yes. I had to give them samples. I had our books on the tables, volume 1 and volume 2, pointed out her name, but I know we're
Heck
talking
yeah.
about, right, financial wellness. So for me, when we talk about entrepreneurship, this is like the give and the take, right?
Hmm.
One thing in our community we talk about on Mondays is manifestation. So I
Right.
love to be really intentional about where I spend my money, how I make my money, and even though this was not one of those paid speaking gigs that we love, right, for this trip, it still filled me up in another way.
Mm,
And especially when we talk about Kennesaw, I don't know if you know this recently, and it might be a trigger warning, or actually, let me give a trigger warning, right? Recently, there was two young ladies at Kennesaw who passed away. Well, let's say
mm,
my Kennesaw sphere, right? One
mhm,
student on campus, and I'm sorry, I do not remember her name right now. I have not constantly stayed. Yes, please look it up so we can
mhm,
lift her up. One student passed away on campus, right? And another alum who I went to school with, who I was an RA with, she recently passed away. So still young,
mm. I'm
in your
so
30s. Mhm.
sorry.
Yes. Um, and thank you. So sitting with how I feel about that, being able to pour into the students who are on campus
Mm.
now, I was super excited to have the opportunity to say yes and the time freedom to go.
Yeah, let's lift up her name. I think it's Alacia,
Hmm.
Alasia Franklin,
Hmm.
21-year-old student who was shot and killed. Whew.
Yes, I was not okay when I found out.
Yeah, I'm
Yes, and
so sorry.
mhm. Yes, for her and her family, her friends. So community is important, checking in with people, seeing where they are personally in their relationships, and not to say that anything could have gone differently, but
Mhm.
for me, I've been holding space for the two ladies, and what were you gonna say?
I was just trying to figure out if it was a domestic violence situation or
Yeah.
a personal relationship situation because we've had those conversations on air before.
Yeah, so let's go deeper into it. That is what it sounds like, right? And the
Mhm.
information that I saw said that that's what her dad felt like it was. It was a young man that was apprehended shortly after campus was shut down. Um,
Mhm.
and I thought about the relationships I was in college, like, and just how
Mhm.
easily these things, if somebody gets upset or any number of things that can happen.
Mhm.
So we've been talking about being proactive and having certain conversations, and you hope that it's not that young that you need to be using um, insurance policies and planning and all these,
Mm.
these things. So definitely holding space for their families, and was an honor to be able to hold space for these leaders who are going into their next school year. Excited to mentor the young ladies behind them, and to keep that baton going.
Right?
Yeah.
I just think about, I mean, so much grief and loss, right? And we talked about it last week about Sheila's new book coming out, The Art of Grieving,
Yes.
and how the arts and art making can help us grieve and live our best lives. I think about, like, it's everywhere,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and we acknowledge both, right?
Mhm.
Gratitude that they get to go back on campus soon, and this is, they're probably still holding this in their bodies, and
Absolutely.
that's a big deal. So,
Huge. Yeah.
did I tell you that Sheila's coming to town? That we're
Yes.
doing her performance? Okay.
Yes.
I should
Yeah.
put the link in our show notes. But next Tuesday for our local peeps on the 25th, we're doing a free performance at Little Five Points in the
Mhm,
community center, and it
mhm.
is perform the book and launch of her book. And she's partnering with Interplay Atlanta Soul Print Players, and so it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really good.
I was thinking about you ladies when I was coming into town, and I was thinking, "Am I going? Am I not? What's my schedule look like?" And I'm like, "Shannon, you haven't even met Sheila yet, and it's crazy that we have not met in person,
What?
right?" I know, when you think
Oh
about
yeah,
it,
you're coming. You're
right?
coming.
Right, of course, so
And
Imma look
we
at the
ought to
calendar.
see, I don't know if I can pull it off because of a previous meeting I have, but we ought to see about going to dinner before the show. Let me
Okay,
see if we can make that happen.
okay.
I'm simultaneously planning the leaders gathering for Interplay. That's going to
Mhm,
be the first week. That's going to be July 4th weekend. So
mhm.
I've got some things, especially because I was out of town and things, some things that I've got to keep on moving.
Yeah,
So, but if I can, let's see if we can make that happen. Our
yeah.
call time is 6 o'clock, I believe. So it would
Okay.
probably have to be like 5 o'clock. But
Yeah, and I can move
yeah,
some
look
stuff.
for live. We're doing calendaring. So sorry, audience. This is how it works, right? I forgot we were live for a moment.
It hey, but honestly, it's a perfect segue, right? Because
Right.
when I think about time freedom, this is what I think about, y'all. I think about financial freedom and then time freedom. It is
Right.
both, right? And it
Right.
is the jigsaw of, okay, let's move this to make this fit and being able to play with what happens. And Sheila reminds us of that, right? Being able to
Absolutely.
dance through and to make art of the very difficult seasons that we have in
Right.
our life, and we do that in community and, yeah, and that's how we do it, just like that.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, how are you like keeping on now that
Mm,
summer's here
yeah.
and you're juggling a lot? What's working for you? What tools or resources? I know we often have a check-in around this. So,
Yes. Well, so much, and we were talking about the books. In volume 2, I talk about my planner. I was sharing that with the ladies as we were planning the rest of 2024 and 2025 through spring, right? With them being college students. And for me, honestly, I have it right here because I took it before. If you can see this little bottle, I took it before the
I can
show.
see it, but I can't see the
You
label.
see
I
it?
think
Let's see.
turn it to
A little bit.
where
Is this the front?
yeah.
No, this is the side.
Is that the
But
side?
let's start here actually because this is what I love about it, is the ingredients list.
What
I've been
is
a
it?
person so this is Magic Mind. Thank you so much for asking. Magic Mind, it says mental performance elixir, right? So I'm weird about stuff. Like I do not pick up just anything. I'll read the ingredients list and I spend time at the grocery store. I say,
Right?
"No, most of this stuff you put down," right? This I've been able to take. I love it because it's natural. Again, I love it because of the
What's it got
clean
in it?
ingredients list. So let's see. Not to read the whole thing, right? Excuse me. But and it's a patented blend, okay, y'all. Organic matcha green tea. I said, okay, right?
Mhm.
Organic olive oil, organic agave, passion fruit. You can definitely taste that, right? Organic ashwagandha. And ashwagandha is
Been hearing good things about that.
and that's what I said. And I said, I need to do more research, but okay, right? It's
Okay.
better than these other ingredients lists that we talk about. So I'm super excited about it. I usually switch it with my coffee. So I've been trying to slow down my consumption. So if I don't do coffee, I'll usually do this. I forgot it on the trip. I was going to take it with me, just pop it in my bag on the way to Tennessee.
Mhm.
We went to Chattanooga and I was in the car like, no, I forgot my Magic Mind. So it's definitely disappointed. If you guys like stuff like this, we actually have a discount code for you. So if you
Oh,
go,
cool.
yes, to www.magicmind.com backslash WCW, you can enjoy our discount. And what that's going to give you is limited 50% off your first subscription. They come in a pack of 15, right? They're best when refrigerated, really good that way. Um, I could
So
do
are they
either
like a
one.
wellness shot?
It's like a wellness shot, the
Okay.
like the immunity
Yeah.
boosters, but it's
Okay.
again great for your
Okay.
mind. It's great for
Okay,
your mind.
cool.
So
I'm gonna
they're gonna
check that
get
out.
50%, excuse me, 56% off their first subscription and 20% off one-time purchase with this discount code. Okay. if you don't want to do the 56% off, if you say it's not a good time, or you want to do your research, we understand research takes time, right? You can still enjoy our discount. It won't be the 56% after 10 days, but you will still get the 20%, and that's for a pack of 15. So again, if you do it every other day, or whatever feels good to your body, I could feel the benefit. I saw how my energy increased. I felt clear. I felt focused. And what I loved about it is that I was able to trust the long-term effects because I trust the ingredients list. And that's where I try to live with everything I put in or on my body. So,
Well, thank you. Thank you
of
for sharing
course.
that discount with our listeners. And we'll
Yeah.
put that in our show notes and
Yes.
make sure that we keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah. So planners, again, brain supplements, right? That's been working. And I know I talked about it last time, but resting. I've
Hmm.
been experimenting, right? Mini
Hmm.
20s, 20-minute naps. I think I shared last week, even if I feel like I have 2 minutes, just setting an alarm, turning off the lights, closing my eyes. That's been amazing.
Mm, I
Hmm.
love that.
I can
I
usually
love that.
I can usually make 20 minutes though. What about you?
Which part?
What has been working for you recently with the summer,
Mm,
and um, how you
yeah,
been?
sleep. Sleep has been one, making sure I get my
Right.
rest, my water.
Yes.
You and I were talking ahead of the show, and I got a new water bottle that measures what I'm taking or taking inputting. And at first I was like, "Oh, I'm not going to spend that $10 or what," but it brought me joy. It was a type of water bottle that I used when I was in Colorado with my mom, and it
Mhm.
just really worked because it shows like during the day you can kind of check in with yourself and see where you're supposed to be. And I was like, "Oh, well, of course I can spend $10 on myself for something that
Yes.
is proven to have worked, right?"
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, and trying to get outside. It's been a little hot for that, but trying to get outside and water my flowers and do some art. I really this weekend was a little tough just with
Yeah.
everything going on, and I did a lot of art, and it was lovely. And yeah, I really enjoy. I've been getting into mixed media and using gel plates for
Mm.
creating art, and
Okay.
so that's been
Gel
fun.
plates.
Hmm.
Tell me more. What are gel plates?
Gel plates are a sticky surface that you kind of put acrylic paint on, and then you do your design, and then you lift it up. It's a lifting of the print,
Did we
and
talk about it the other podcast?
I don't know. We might have.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
can't
yeah, I
remember what
understand.
we've
Yeah.
talked about or what we but
Yeah, it makes
it's a new medium for me, and I'm loving it
good.
and playing with it. They're all downstairs, or I would show you one of mine. But
Mhm.
yeah, I don't
Maybe a
know,
picture
yeah,
so we can say.
I could do that and put it in
Yeah.
our show notes. But I am just looking for things that bring me joy right now,
Mhm.
and looking for things, doing a little poetry, looking at I was really it's my first full week home, full week back. So
Yes.
also looking at my schedule between now and the end of the year, and
Mhm.
looking at what's working and what's not, and what I want to and building my task list, which
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, even that, I will say to folks, as we're talking about financial wisdom, as we're
Yeah.
talking and wellness, sometimes that first step is the hardest. Like, especially if you've had to check out for whatever reasons, right? If
Mhm.
if it's been a death in the family, if it's been works overwhelmed, whatever, right? I get that feeling when you first sit down to restart,
Mhm.
right? And it
Mhm.
can be overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially. And so just taking those first steps, looking at the calendar, looking at the task list, and
Mhm.
I had somebody help me with it this time, which was very helpful. And
Good.
what I just did is I went through my calendar and said out loud the task I needed to do associated with what was on the calendar, and had somebody write it in a document for me.
Mhm.
And then I copied it and put the check marks on it, right?
Yeah.
And just started being really gentle with myself, but I'm going to check off a couple a day,
Yeah.
and knowing that it's not all going to get done in the same day, that it's
Mhm.
okay to pace myself, and it's
Mhm.
okay. I was just having this conversation with a client this morning, like I said, that has a big life transition, right? And sometimes we just have to break it down into incremental steps,
Yes.
whether it's our finances, whether it's our calendar, whether it's something fun,
Mhm.
like a big vacation, right?
Yeah.
Um, I'm a big believer in just breaking it down. And what's that first incremental step?
Mhm.
I am I think our guest is not able to make it today. If she pops in here, it'll be great.
Yes.
I am so excited about some of the guests we have coming on soon for financial wellness. Like, we did a coffee and chat today, y'all. Incredible resource of
So let's
somebody.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
let's ask and see if they vote about the title.
Mm, I love it. Do you remember what our options were?
I don't.
Let me pull it up. Hang on, I
Okay.
can pull it up. So we have a future guest coming that is coming. Let me make sure I'm on the right week. Y'all, we are already scheduling for next year, which is incredible. We have a lot of really cool guests headed your way. And this one was for financial wellness. And her name is Shakira. And she paid off a six-figure debt, her student loan. She's a nurse, um, 3 years during the pandemic. And so our votes were using spiritual wellness to heal your finances,
Mhm.
or was it spiritual wellness for healing your finances? It was
Mm-mm, it was in the same order, but it was
okay.
taking out the "and," or it was adding a "and" instead of doing, like, "for" in the middle.
Oh, using spiritual wellness and heal your finances.
Mhm.
Mm,
Mhm.
very
So
subtle. Very
yeah, so tell
subtle.
us what you think. Do you like the "for" spiritual wellness or "and" spiritual wellness? Am I getting that mixed up? The spiritual wellness is at the end, right? Can you read it one more
No, it's
time?
at the beginning. Using spiritual wellness to heal your finances.
Mhm. Let us know what you guys think. And
Right?
if you need us to say it again, because I know I got confused, so I hope I didn't confuse you guys. Let us know in the comments. We'll bring it up. We'll do a poll.
And pay attention to our social media. If you're following us on Instagram or LinkedIn
Yeah.
or on Facebook, and
Mhm.
we'll have a poll or something, more than likely on Instagram, because that's
Yeah.
where we do a lot. But
We live.
well, my friend, today is June 19th. So it's
Yes.
Juneteenth. How
Yes.
are you celebrating?
Oh. Take a deep breath. One, started celebrating with the ladies. The freedom to choose to go was huge. We know that a few weeks ago I was in Top Golf, right? And so who knows what this week would have looked like. They were very busy this weekend for Father's Day. And I don't know if I would have had the space to say yes if that still would have been on my schedule and in my planner. So to be able to wake up, beautiful Airbnb, run down the hill to the mountains because I still worked out, right? Thoroughly enjoy my time outside and to be pouring into these young leaders on the collegiate campuses at
Mm-hmm.
Kennesaw for one of my Amazon best-selling like you couldn't tell me anything, like super celebrating Juneteenth and the freedom to choose, um,
Mm-hmm.
and in a similar season that you were just describing, because of the change in logistics, which is why it's so important to be clear, to look and see what's in the planner, to know what you need to do next based on what you need. And my passion is helping us ladies do that, and all the people that we affect, which is everybody. So I was super grateful to be there, humbled to be asked, grateful to be talking about accountability and critical thinking, So I was laughing at how big of a nerd I would have to be excited about talking about critical thinking. But I did write on intellectual wellness and I do have a psychology degree, right? So,
Right?
like,
I
thinking
love
through all
that.
those things is what I've been doing this weekend.
For our international listeners,
Yeah.
because we do have a number of them,
Yeah, we do.
to let y'all know, Juneteenth, on June 17th in 2021, President Joe Biden signed a bill into law, making Juneteenth a national holiday.
Mhm.
And, this is it's about a key historical date about freedom,
Mhm.
especially for Black people in America. So you want to tell them what it is? You want me to?
Absolutely. You can definitely finish and we can continue conversation after.
Right. So basically, y'all, Juneteenth is to celebrate the day that the slaves in Texas got the news 2 years after the Emancipation Law was signed into law. 2 years they were still in slavery, and they got the news
Mhm.
pre-internet, y'all.
Right. Lord.
And
Right.
yeah, it's I grew up in Texas, right?
Mm,
So I know how much prejudice and bigotry is in the state of Texas. And it was interesting today because I was talking to a friend who moved from Texas to North Carolina.
mm,
And she said, I had the weirdest experience this morning. She's like, because I got up to go to this thing and nobody was on the streets.
mm,
And I was like, what is happening? And she had forgotten the date. She forgot it was Juneteenth. And she said, it was just so interesting to me that here I am in North Carolina and it's a federal holiday and they are celebrating. And I grew up in Texas, the place that it happened, and it was not recognized.
mm.
And I thought, well, yeah, it's interesting because Texas had the system to oppress slaves and Black people, and they didn't want to recognize it. Like, this
Right.
was not they wanted to keep their free labor.
They were 2
And
years late on
so,
purpose. Right.
right,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes.
And so just still thinking about how modern day slavery and
Mhm.
how there is still systems that are in place
Yeah.
to oppress Black and brown folks, and
Mhm.
that we need to be having these conversations. And we
Definitely.
don't have to have them today because today's celebrating Black excellence,
Mhm.
freedom for everybody. And
And I love space for the conversation too. I'm not mad at it, like, and that's where I've been working with living with stuff. I just came in restful. The first thing that came up for me is, okay, yeah, actually we do rest on Juneteenth. Usually that's the thing if we have
right,
space to. Um, but it is interesting, the way that you have to hold both. But that's the way that I embody the spirit of freedom, right? Again, is to exercise my choice and how I spend my time. And I rested a little more than expected last night. I was in bed early, reading till I was tired, and again woke up to celebrating my opportunity and the opportunity to take opportunity, right? And these young ladies in their next school year.
mm,
Yeah.
I'm so excited that you got to do that today.
Thank you.
Like that
And
just
that's also like part of our passion and my passion for women connected in wisdom, right? Sometimes we can't wait 2 years. Sometimes 2 years later is 2 years too late. And these are
right.
very dire situations that women are in, and we need this information. So when we talk about financial wealth and wisdom, I've been excited to invest the time, the 3 years and 160 episodes that we have, right? In getting women connected to the resources because we need help and we need to be in community. We're better that way. And so, even though I hope that we're healthy, happy, and excellent by ourselves, I look forward to that growing in community and love.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're currently on pause for volume 3.
Yes.
Collecting people that are interested. We'll probably kick that off in January of next year. But I think about the chapters on financial wellness.
Mm,
I was thinking about that from volume 1,
mhm,
going through this with losing my dad. And
yeah,
I was with my mom, and it was very funny because we were in the grocery store and, of course, buying flowers. And I was buying flowers for her new patio. And she said, oh, your dad's with us. And I said, yeah, Mom, remember in my chapter in Women Connected Wisdom, we grew up knowing we could spend money on flowers and food and books.
mhm,
Like, we were allowed to do that, right?
yeah,
Um, and it was so funny because we were in the grocery store buying food, buying flour. We didn't check off the book list, but
mm,
yeah, I just think about our patterns of our families
mhm,
and what works
mm,
and what doesn't work. And, Courtney Dorsey's chapter in volume 2 on financial wellness, and just that even though we all come from different backgrounds and different places, there are some things that are, if we look to how do we grow up? What is our relationship with money? Are we allowed to talk about it or not?
Right.
I think that is key.
Yeah. And that's one of my the biggest thing that it one of the biggest things that excites me about being an insurance agent now for life and health insurance specifically because of the way that we have these conversations, talking about Juneteenth. If everybody would have had life insurance policies, how much opportunity cost is that? You know what I mean? How big of the ripple effect is that? So if
Mhm.
today we can work on the healing and making sure that we're proactive and covered and like we were talking about earlier, have what we need in place for the wealth to build, for there to be wisdom and longevity in the things that we work on, that's a beautiful thing.
Can I be really honest with you about every time you talk about being a life insurance agent?
Yes, what do
I
you think?
giggle just a little
Yeah?
because I think about growing up playing the game Life.
Mhm.
Did you play that game
Oh,
growing
I
up?
have a story about it, but what were you gonna say?
No, it just tickles me because
Mm,
I was that kid that had to
yeah.
have the insurance.
Oh,
Like
really?
I
Good.
had to buy the insurance, so it just tickles me that you're
Mm.
doing that, and I just always go to that game of life. You
Yeah.
need to have the insurance.
Me too. It's so important, you know what I mean? And again, it's just like what you were talking about the water bottle. It's $10, right? So if we're looking at our budget, we're looking at our nourishing plan, is this a need? I have cups. Do I have to do it right now, right? But if it's going to help you drink more water and you usually don't drink water, and then because you drink water, it prevents hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills, that's a good $10 spent. So when I think about the game of life, I think it was when you pull the career cards, right? And I had pulled athletes. And my best friend's gonna laugh at this because she was here for this game when we were little. So I pull athlete, and this other person that was with us was like, "You're not athletic," and I said, "I know she didn't." And now I have is stroven a word, strive to be athletic my entire life. So it's important. But that's what I think about when I think about the game of life.
Well, and now you're a runner,
Right.
and now you really are an athlete,
Yeah.
right?
Thank you.
So
Yeah,
that is
lifelong
so
athlete.
fascinating.
It's about lifelong wellness. I had committed to that when my dad had cancer, then my mom got sick with cancer. I said, okay, this is not just a diet or to look cute or anything like that. Like, I really want to be okay. I want us to be
Mhm.
okay in real life, and not just okay, but very well taken care of on a daily basis. So I'm excited about everything that we have on the table. And I know that we were expecting to have a guest, but the things and the practices we put in place to maintain our wisdom and maintain our wellness and to build our
Mhm.
wealth, not only financially, but in every way that you can be healthy and wealthy. I think that outside of the money that we look forward to being in on our accounts, when we look at our lives, we have a lot of that stuff.
Right. I can't remember what I was looking at on social media recently, but it said, and that's one of the things when we talk about wealth, right? What
Yeah,
does it mean to be wealthy?
exactly.
And I was reading something about that in some cultures it means that you have enough to give away,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And it also makes me think years ago, and I don't know where I can find it,
Yeah.
but really it talks about, especially for those of us in America, right? Putting it in perspective,
Mhm.
that if you have a car, that
Yes.
means wealth. If you have a college degree, that
Yes.
means you're wealthy. If
Yes.
all the markers
Mhm,
of, if we have a roof over our head, if
mhm.
we, all the things to look at and be grateful for, right? And it doesn't mean you
Absolutely.
can't strive for more and you
Mhm.
can't get skills and learn more. I think sometimes we get so mixed up with that too, because it depends in what religion you were based in and what you heard growing up, right?
Your perspective of
About
it.
your perspective of it, right? If
Mhm,
you're
mhm.
allowed to ask for what you want,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
Or even know what you want, right? I
Yeah.
think that's a thing. I know I grew up pretty sheltered, right?
Mm, mhm.
And we didn't watch a lot of TV and
Right.
we
Yeah.
didn't, so there were some things that I didn't even know, like we talk now about vision boards and we talk about, and I realized, like, there's some things that are so far out of my scope of imagination.
Mhm.
And until I got older and traveled and realized, like, oh yeah, that's an option,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's what do we, how do we do that?
Mhm.
And clearing any money blocks that might be along the way,
Yeah.
and looking for really good role models of people who do have money that aren't evil. Because
Yes.
we can look today immediately and go, oh yeah, that person. I know I don't want to be like that person. I don't.
Right.
But y'all, there's a lot of women that are doing some incredible work in the world. There's some men too, but I mean, there's
Mhm.
some women who are giving back to their communities,
Yeah.
making a lot of Melinda Gates, left,
What's going on?
divorced Bill,
Mm.
left the foundation, been given a ton of money
Mm.
to foundations and women issues around the globe.
Mm.
And yeah. And there
It's
was somebody
important.
else that was recently in the news that somebody was criticizing them for. They said that they were what was wrong with society because they were giving a whole lot of money away. So
Mhm.
she doubled her donations.
Come on. Yes, doubled it. I love a good double. I look forward to things
Mhm,
doubling and quadrupling,
mhm,
quadrupling.
mhm.
And this is what I was sharing with the ladies. We just recently started doing a lot of these things. When you look at American history as women, right? Being able
Mhm.
to get credit cards, being able to get business loans. That was the 80s. So a lot of these things we're going to be doing for the first time. I definitely want to encourage us to ask for help, to get around people. I had to muster up the courage myself this morning and talk to one of the co-facilitators. She's amazing on marketing, and our marketing is pretty good, right? But in all the businesses, we have the opportunity to get better. So I asked her because she's an expert in that field, and that's the way we grow.
Right. Yeah, I sent you that on socials about the year women got the right to get a business loan, right?
Mm.
Um, it
I don't
was
remember, probably.
1988.
Wow,
Was the
they could have said
year I
90.
graduated from high school. That's the year I graduated from high school.
Right. So when we talk about the way that we think about things, when I heard
Mhm.
that year, it was so of course, you growing up, it makes sense if you weren't thinking about all the possibilities to the left because the left wasn't open, or the right.
Right?
And you don't know what you don't know. So that's why I love being connected to these ladies from around the world, hearing their stories, sharing in their resources, and it just continues to broaden and broaden my perspective of what's possible and how things can look today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is. And I also want, and of course, this is from my interplay and my coaching and
Mhm.
being gentle with ourselves, right?
Yes.
Like, it's okay to sit and notice, what bubbles up when you're thinking about finances, when you're thinking about wealth, and to be gentle with yourself, right?
Yes.
To really, it's easy to freak out nowadays. I mean,
Mhm.
there's a lot to freak out about.
What do you
And
see?
well, I think about a lot of folks' expenses are more than income right now
Mhm.
when uh and things are starting to come down, right? And what it's been really, I've been following a lot of people online, and Robert Reich, who used to be the labor secretary,
Mm.
he breaks it down beautifully because it's
Okay.
not really inflation, it's corporate greed. And
Mm.
it's the fact that these corporations and their CEOs and their boards are making tons of money.
Mm.
And Target and Walmart recently just lowered their prices because
Mm.
people had stopped buying.
Wow.
And yeah, and it wasn't, yeah,
Right.
I mean, it could be a whole nother show about that,
I
right?
agree.
But I think folks being gentle with themselves, because the last 3 to 4 years has been challenging.
Yes, it
And
has.
it's okay to reset and to set new goals and to check in with yourself about what's working and what's not working,
Mm.
and to do an honest evaluation of where you are.
Yeah.
And that very first chapter I wrote was about going back to the basics.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was.
about free resources, it was about ways to get support and help. And I loved what you said. Like, it's okay to ask for help.
Yeah.
It's okay. Like, yeah.
And let me I could be honest here, right? Because this is a financial question. I was on a training earlier for Compass Health Consultants, this new insurance company I'm excited to be part of. And the trainer was asking about the most difficult part of finances in business, right? And the answer was at the beginning. And I wondered why I said that. At first I said the beginning, but connection was breaking up, right? We're driving from Chattanooga. And then I said I didn't know because he had asked again. And he said at the beginning, I said, okay, that's what I thought. So I asked myself, why did you feel like you didn't know? Well, okay, Shayla Glow is going to be 4 on Wednesday, right? And there's been different things throughout it. We know entrepreneurship goes different ways, you know? Um, and so it's been a journey of learning and adding things and getting better and asking for help. And that's what I go back to is the resources, back to basics. And okay, when you need to do the SWOT analysis or make the plan, where are we with everything and what's the need that we need to look at so that we know where to start.
Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think being able to have that conversation with yourself and your support team and or people that you're in relationship with.
Yeah.
And I also think because when I was really young, like I didn't think this way about like
Mm,
to know what to have a goal, not just for the hard stuff, but have a goal for the fun stuff too.
mm,
And to know what that is,
yeah.
right? Um, and sometimes we forget. So often you can also like ask your besties,
Mm,
right? Somebody asked me this week what I was doing for my birthday, and I'm like, I don't
mm,
know, because I've been in such a funk and I'm doing all this. I don't know what I want to do because
right.
part of me wants to go out of town, and part of me is like,
Mm,
no, you just got home. You
yeah.
want to be at home.
Yeah.
And so Dr. Cynthia Phelps, like
Yes.
one of our Women Connected Wisdom authors, she looks at me and she goes, you should go kayaking.
Mm,
And I was like, of course I should go kayaking. It's one
great
of
idea.
my favorite things to do. We're
Yes.
lucky where we live that we have that. Like I could go a mile down the road and go kayaking, or I could
Mm,
go an hour up into the mountains and go kayaking. And
mhm,
it's doable. And I don't have to go away from home
right.
to do it, but I still can feel like I've got this big adventure and I am doing something that I love in nature, right?
Yeah.
And I say that to say I'd completely forgot. Like, I've been off doing this other stuff. I wasn't and she when she said it, my whole body lit up. I was like,
Mhm,
yes, that's what I want to do, right? And now I
yeah.
just have to figure out the where and when and all that. But yeah, like having people in your life that can dream with you,
Mhm,
right? I
yeah.
think that's an important thing.
And that's what I've been working on more, as again, logistics, schedules change, keeping the dream space, keeping the rest, and keeping the joy, like you're saying, looking for it every day. I've been working on adding something to my habits in the morning of looking in the mirror before I brush my teeth, saying, I love you, and what can I do to make you happy today?
Ooh, I love that.
Yes. Because we make sure other people, do you have your water? Do you have this? And we go off and all this stuff and we don't have time. So making time, being intentional about happiness in every day. And
Mm,
yeah, it's been a good addition.
I love that. And I don't know if it was you I was talking with last week. I
Mm,
don't, like I said, my brain's a little Swiss cheesy, but
mm.
I also I was reading something or watching something and it was talking about accountability buddies for gratitude or joy.
Okay.
So it was about instead of like, oftentimes as a coach, like I'll be an accountability for somebody and check in, did they do this or did they do that? But I was reading this and it was talking about how this person had joy accountability buddies or gratitude. And so every night they would text their three things they were grateful for or joyful for to their
Mm,
buddy. And I love that.
I do
Like,
like that.
right? So I
Mm,
know you were with these young women today, and that
mm,
may be what made you happy. But what can I do to make you happy this morning?
what did I say? That's a great question. I think I did it and I don't remember what I said.
Okay.
It might have been working out and I did that, right? I think maybe I thought about the podcast and we're here.
Mhm.
And I think I thought about resting after. I don't remember what I decided. Maybe I need to write it down and make sure that
Okay.
I do it. Um,
Okay.
but yes, I'm gonna rest today. Ideally, I would like to take all of Juneteenth off. That's not always the case every year. And again, this year's been a joy. The way that the day has been stacked, I'm grateful for it, and
Mm,
it's been beautiful.
I love that. I
Thank you
love
so
that a
much.
lot.
Yeah.
Well, what do you want your wisdom in action to be for this week?
Hmm. So we are talking about financial wellness, right? Wealth and wisdom finances. I would say, based on the actions I know I'm going to take, how about this? Hashtag pay attention to the numbers.
Mm,
And that's
mhm.
attention to the numbers. And again, y'all, that's based on both finances and time, right? Because I'm being really intentional about how I stack it. I have time for calls, time for appointments, time to rest, time for social media, right? Got to add the women connected in wisdom, social media back in there. You have my on air commitment, Christine, because it sounded like you didn't believe me earlier when I said it, because I've been saying it for weeks, but you have my on air commitment. And just paying attention to the numbers and going with the flow. What
I
about you?
love that. I love that. What is realistic? I think because it is my birthday week, my
Mhm.
wisdom in action is going to be mid-year check-in.
Okay.
So
Yes.
it's my mid-year check-in with myself and everything I've got going on and my calendar and my finances and all the things, right?
Yes.
And so folks know, I take a week to do. Like it's not a one day thing. It
Mhm.
is I kind of do an audit, I kind of
Mhm.
check in on things
Mhm.
and because it's such big work, sometimes I have to step away from it. Like especially if I have regrets or things that aren't going quite as well as I want them to, right?
Mm.
And I am a eternal optimist. But sometimes I look at the numbers, I'm like,
Right.
okay, I need to tweak this a little bit here, or I need to
Yes.
do this here. And
Yes.
yeah. So
And if you're listening, right, and you ever get there, for me, it's a good place to be. Right, that's the level of discomfort that we wanna get used to, because it means that you're looking at the numbers and
right?
you've given yourself an opportunity to pivot and continue forward towards the way that you wanna go, right? I was that person. I think, who was it? One of my financial literacy sources, right, talks about, I don't want to quote the wrong person, but they talk about how looking at your bank account can be looking at a report card. And I wasn't nervous to look at a report card, but it definitely resonated when I used to think about that bank account. So it
Oh,
feels that way sometimes, and that's okay. But you're doing the work that you
right.
need to do. So good
Right.
job. Yeah.
That's a fascinating thing, especially because I have definitely some baggage around that with having
Mhm,
parents for teachers.
mhm. I
It's an
agree.
interesting thing to think about. Okay, I love it. All
Yeah.
right, my friend. Well, I is there anything we need to shout out or talk about before we wrap episode 160?
So we talked about Sheila's event next week,
Mm-hmm.
right next Tuesday. We talked about, I know I added earlier the discount code. I want to make sure that you guys get that, because 56% off is amazing. 20% after
Mm-hmm.
that is amazing. And I genuinely have been enjoying these products. So if you want that discount code for Magic Mind, don't forget to go to the show notes and get it. Um, what else would I say? Oh, yes. And see, this is what we do. Sometimes we forget ourselves, right? The 22nd, not only is Christine's birthday, and we're going to say that first. Whoop, 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 whoop. So on your birthday, know that I'm saying happy, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Um, yes,
What you got going on that day?
we haven't even at the retail space, and this is
Okay.
going to be the last one. So if you guys want to come celebrate Juneteenth with us, we have some amazing brands down at Spark on Auburn Avenue, 228 Auburn Avenue Northeast Atlanta, Georgia. We've been having a really good time over here for the past year and a half between the three of us and now the four of us. Dion is in the space, right? We have Zanaya Naturals with the candles, the beeswax candles that I use as a massage oil. I love it. London's Closet has been having me walk so eloquently into these rooms for my events, right? And then again, Dion has her artwork, and you'll see the beautiful crochet work and
Mm.
sage, some bath
I don't think
bombs.
I've gotten to see hers
Mm-mm.
yet. I
I don't
need to
think you've
check
been
that
there.
out.
Mhm.
Okay.
I don't think you've been there since she's been in the
Very
space.
cool.
So we're celebrating from 1 to 7, I believe. We can put the information. Actually, excuse me, I know it's not 6 hours. I believe it's a 4-hour event. We'll get the times, right? And put it in the show notes for you guys if you want to come. But come check out Shaylo Glow. If you met us at the retail space, if you've seen the retail space, if you haven't but you want to, come out because this will be our last event and we're going to have a good time.
So excited for you.
Thank
And
you.
those were always so much fun.
Yeah, they were.
So, yeah,
Yes.
it's I'm probably gonna be on a river somewhere, just so
Enjoy
you
yourself.
know. I won't
And I
be
would
coming
be
into town on that day.
yes. Hello.
But
It's gonna be crazy with the concerts and the events, so
right? A lot of good
please
stuff going on.
leave the world behind and go celebrate.
Right? Yeah, I need to get a little nature therapy in for sure.
You deserve it. All
Thank
right, y'all.
you.
Well, of course, thank you for joining us for this conversation about wealth and wisdom finances. Episode 160 has been a pleasure. We'll see you next week live at 5. In the meantime, be well, be wise, be whole. See you next week.